Hello and welcome to the Fighting Spirits podcast with me, Gareth A Davies. On this episode, I join Deontay Wilder in Alabama and also speak to his coach, Jay Deas. Enjoy. Bronze bomber Deontay Wilder, thank you so much for having us into your gym just a few days before your fight with Tyson Fury. You look fantastic. You looked fantastic in the ring today. How are you feeling?
I feel fantastic. All honesty, I feel amazing. This is my moment. This is my time, and it's a blessing to be able to present, this come out party for me. And I say what I mean by come out party because it's been, when you're in America, it's so hard to do so many things. It's been, especially when it pertains to sports, because we have so many sports, here in America that we have to compete against. It's just like my last fight, I had to compete against 3 different sports, and then still have mine. So, this is my opportunity where it's just all about me. It's all about this fight. It's all about me and Tyson Fury, and everyone is gonna be there. So I can't wait. This is amazing. This is a big opportunity for me, and I'm ready for the opportunity.
I hope your night doesn't go as badly as my cameras are right now, falling all over the place. Look, I've been with Tyson Fury recently, and he says you're trying to get him early. You're getting him before he gets too much in the groove after his time away.
It's always exciting to hear what other fighters are thinking, Yeah, all of it is an assumption at the end of the day, but my mind is clear. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I know what I'm going to do on that night of that fight. So I'm not really necessarily worried about what he's going to do or what he's thinking I'm going to do. I want, when people think certain things of me and it's not correct, it makes me smile. It's made me say they are not in the place that they need to be. I'm very unpredictable, And with that being said, I don't have no game plan whether I'm going to go get them out early. In the first round, I don't have a game plan where I'm going to sit back in the first round early. You just never know what's going to happen when it comes to me. I'm going to feel the energy.
You're that instinctive, yeah?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I'm going to feel the energy when we get in there, and the energy that I feel in the ring is going to allow me to apply whatever pressure that I need in the ring. Whether it's pressure or patience, or whether it's both, that will be applied in the ring. And then after that, then that's when you're going to see some magic happen. We don't know when it's coming, but when it's come, bam, baby, good night.
Tyson Fury also said he respects you as a man and a fighter. And I think hearing you talk about him as well, I think it's mutual, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, that respect is definitely mutual between the two. We're both fighters. We're both trying to make a living.
You're both crazy as well. Let's be honest. Let's be honest about it.
I've admitted it many times. A lot of fighters are crazy. We're crazy to be able to have to do this. You got to be some type of crazy. But we just take crazy to a next level. I like to have, I'm a crazy fun. You know what I mean? He crazy, insane, crazy type of person. But I just, he like to have fun as well too. And
I could see you both as friends, genuinely.
Yeah, for sure. It's nothing personal at the end of the day. It's
so
just,
exactly what he said. This is just 2 men who are used to fighting.
Yeah.
Boxing's part of our lives.
Yeah.
And he said he feels no animosity towards you.
I'm the same
Even though
way.
you've done 4 press conferences, really.
Yeah.
Because you had the one in the ring in New York. Do you remember that one?
Correct.
When his waistcoat came off. And you had the 3 around the world, where he said there were a few moments on that tour. And I know Tyson well, and we're friends, yeah? He said there were a couple of moments on that tour where he thought it genuinely was going to kick off.
Yeah.
Did you have that feeling?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Every bit of it. This is the beauty of this sport, though. I tell people all the time, it's an emotional sport. It'll bring the worst and the best out of you, pertaining to what situation that you're in. But at the end of the day, as long as you know how to control and have discipline. See, in this game, in this fight, business, you must have a balance. You can't go mayhem in every situation, everywhere you go. You must have a balance. It's just like with me. People only get the perspective of me as what I do in the ring, the interviews and stuff. They'll never know who I truly am on a day-to-day basis. They'll never know who Deontay Wilder really is. You know what I mean? What I really do in life. I'm a loving person. I'm a beautiful soul, spirit, body and mind. You know what I mean? I love doing for people. I love to I'm a type of person that I can be happy for others. Even if they're doing better than me, I can be genuinely happy for that person because I'm happy in my life. I'm ultimately happy in my life and what's going on in my life and the people that surround my life. And that allows me to be happy for others, So, with boxing, it just comes this thing that either you got or you don't. And if you don't have it, you better find a way to get it. And I'm talking about that mentality of being able to switch from a person that you are into a ultimate killer. You got to. It's a brutal sport. It's a gladiator sport. And I think people look at this sport like other sports. How guys behave or, handle themselves in certain sports. This is different. This is a lonely sport. No, we don't have teammates and stuff. We can go and get some water and just sit around and wait or whatever, get tag team out. No, we got to do what we got to do on spot. And with that being said, it makes you build a certain mentality that you may have, you must have. And then when you enter in the ring, you're able to just express yourself, release that energy. I just release energy when I'm in the ring. I like to express myself, and I can express myself in the most brutal fashion possible and get paid doing it.
Do you feel nerves? Do you feel fear ever?
Never. The only thing boxing does for me at that moment in time, like the week of the fight, is the waiting. When you're so prepared and ready for something, you're ready to go. You're ready to do it. No more training. No more messing with your mind, preparing it, visualizing certain things. Because it'll mess with your mind. And we are crazy. Like I keep saying, you just think about, you have to train for this one man for months and months at a time. You think about this guy for months and months at a time. You walk into a gym and you look at a bag, you thinking about that fighter. You hit a speed bag, you thinking about that fighter. If you hitting the mitts or doing anything, in the ring, you're thinking about that fighter. You eat, breathe, and sleep this sport. So that would mess with your mind when you have something that you think about over and over and over. You're contemplating on it over and over and over again. You packing this information in your head over and over again. And on that special night of the fight, you ready. Your mind has been programmed to think a certain way. You've programmed it to do certain things. So when it's time to release that, you don't know what's going to be said. You don't know what's going to be done, but you know something's going to happen.
There's a great quote I was reading today from Carol Joyce Oates, one of the big writers on fight sports and very intellectual, and she's saying how boxing isn't a sport. It's people being able to suspend their will, their instinct to survive. Because most people's instinct to survive when they're attacked is to run away.
Correct.
To go away, to avoid it. But you've suspended that. You've nullified your instinct to survive. You're just going to face fire. And I find that's what's so fascinating about the sport. It's not a sport. It's a mirror on life in a weird way. Yeah. That's what this quote was,
I mean, you can see it in, varieties of ways. I can understand every word, and how she, could put that together in her mind and say this is not a sport. So I can see it because it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that it is and that it isn't. You know what I mean? I always say this is not a game. Say this boxing game, we'll easily say it, whatever, but it ain't nothing about this is games in it. You're risking your life. And I don't know one person that risked their life and thought it was a game. You know what I mean?
Do you kiss your kids before you go and you say,
I kiss my
I'm
kid.
coming back.
I kiss my kid where I'm going or staying. You know, that's just automatic with me. I love kids. I kiss my kids like 6 or 7 times a day, and they all individuals because I love them. You know, I really feel like I'm the mother goose. I feel like I have my children. If they ever event something that would allow a man to be able to carry a child, I want to be signed up for it. I really do. I would literally get my woman pregnant just so I can carry it. Well, if I got her pregnant, she would carry it, but I would tell her, like, babe, let's have a baby. I'm going to carry it. You know,
Wow.
of course, a woman, I'm like, okay, all right, let's do that. You know what I mean? Because I want to experience that, you know. I would love to experience to see what a woman go through to bring a life into this world. That's why women are the most powerful things on this earth. You know, when you have someone that bleeds for 7 days, come on, man.
That's nice to hear that from the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
It's a very gentle, loving thing to say for a man who's going to be a beast in a week's time. But mate, that's great to see that side of you, you know?
Yeah, I wish people could see it often, you know, but due to the fact I don't care what people think of me, you know, I don't really let it get to me because, like I said, my world is amazing. My life is amazing, you know, and I don't let certain things get to me. I let people assume about me and let them think what they want, you know. It's their rights, too. Long as I'm civilized, long as I can determine between the two of things, or I can balance it out, then I'm fine.
We know you've got a lot of fans in the UK. You do. You even had a lot of fans in the UK when you came to beat up Audley Harrison all those years ago. Yeah. A little grin there from that, yeah.
Back in 2012.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. But even then, I remember, you know, being around you then, people were very interested in you. Let's get back to beast mode, okay? Can you tell the UK fans what you'll do to Tyson Fury when the first bell tolls?
When the first bell ring, you know, my whole mentality is going to be adjusting, trying to figure him out. You know, I've never faced a guy of his style, you know, that possesses his type of style. So I think the first part, maybe even the second round, is all going to be about adjusting. You know, who can adjust to whose style is the fastest. And then after that, you're going to see things starting to work out. You're going to see things starting to add up. And whoever can solve the problem the faster is going to be the one that come out on top. And I think that's I know that's going to be me. I'm going to knock him out. You know, I'm going to knock him out.
You've visualized that over and over again.
I've fought him 75 times now. You know, over and over again, I've seen reaction. I've seen different knockouts. I allow my mind to see different ways. I don't just see it always one way, because certain things may happen in the fight that I couldn't visualize, nor could I see coming. Because, you know, in life we get blindsided, and just like in a fight, you can get blindsided, and you could see certain things. So my mind is so open that I allow it to see it in, you know, varieties of ways, not just one way. You know, and each way I saw myself knocking him out in each particular way. So it's going to be amazing, you know, to really go in there and to feel this energy, to adjust to him and see what happens.
Are you grateful that he did come back so quickly and he's taken the challenge? Because clearly you were frustrated not getting the fight with Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, you know, I'm definitely happy to see him back, you know, in action. And I'm definitely happy to be able to finally fight him, you know. He came a long way. We all have come a long way. We all have stories, you know, that we can tell, you know. But just to see the man in the ring, to be able to take care of his family, do what he loved to do.
Lose 130 pounds.
Lose 130 pounds.
That's some feat, isn't it?
Man,
he told me that was a victory in itself.
Yeah.
He said he feels like he's won already by doing that, you know.
It's going to be a minute. I mean, win, lose, or draw, he's going to be a winner, you know, just...
Same weight as a baby giraffe, though.
Really?
Same weight as a baby giraffe.
Oh,
same weight as Melania Trump. He's lost Melania Trump in weight.
You know, it's good to see him, but, you know, it's always good to see fighters, you know, because when people look up on us, they don't give us our full credit, or they look at us as monsters. You know, everywhere you go. That's why, you know, it's hard to get endorsements and stuff if you ain't at a certain level where you just everybody's talking about you, and you're just trying to come up with it. People will overlook fighters because of what we do. You know, everybody always thinking that we're uptight, we got something on our over our heads, or you know, we got this animosity built in us or anger. We want to fight all the time. That's not the case. That is, just because our occupation, you know, consists of us, you know, harming another man or whatever you want to call it, or displaying our art and skill, you know, the sweet science. You know, it doesn't mean that, you know, outside of that we're not human beings, that we can't handle ourselves in certain situations. You know, most fighters are some of the coolest guys you'll ever meet in life. Of course, most have egos and stuff like that. Because of course you're gonna have an ego because you can do something that others can't do in this world, period. When you're a fighter and you can do it, people would love to know how to fight. Everyone want to know how to defend themselves, because when you know how to do it, you speak different, you talk different, you know, you walk different because you have confidence. And when you're a confident person, things are different. You know, you don't care about certain things. You don't care about what certain people may say or what you have or you don't have. You're confident in yourself that one day, whatever you don't have, you'll get it one day if you keep working hard at it.
But also, I think you lose your insecurity and you focus your life force, don't you? Your life force is very focused. One can feel it right now, how focused you are. You know, even listening, your listening focus is amazing. If you knock Tyson Fury out, you say you knock him out.
When
you knock Tyson Fury out on December the 1st, what do you want for yourself for 2019?
Pertaining to what?
In your career. What do you want in 2019? What's your goal for 2019 then?
2019, my goal is...
you know what we all want.
Yeah, for sure. My goal is what I've always set to do, you know, is to unify. After obtaining my first title, world title, my main goal was to unify. One champion, one face, one name. I won't stop until I get that. I want that. I want to be able to say I was the undefeated, the undisputed, the unified heavyweight champion of the world. No man can say that at this moment in time. You know, all the belts is different places. You know what I'm saying? We have 2 champions now, you know, and no one could say it yet because, you know, the situation that it is, you know.
Do you want to be in Wembley in April?
I'll go anywhere. If everything's right, you know, the things is done right, you know, I'm a world traveler. I'm 40-0 with 39 KOs. I've traveled to so many different countries. I've fought so many different types of fighters, you know, all over the world. It's like at this point in time in my career, like I can't be surprised by nothing, you know, because I've fought certain styles, and if it's not particularly the same style, somebody had some similarities that comes with that style, and it allows me to be able to adjust in certain different regions. It allows you to adjust faster because if you're not seeing it all, you've seen parts of it, and you know how to piece the puzzle together.
You will have visualized it. What do you do to Anthony Joshua if it's Wembley, if it's April next year?
Now, why would I already give you a pre-examination of what I would do to dissect him? You know, of course he'll listen to this, or his fans, and it'll get back to him, and then now they know what the plan is, you know. With Joshua, with his style and how you do it, you know, he's an easy person to adjust to because he's not like me in Fury. He's not as mobile. He's not as flexible, not as agile, you know. He have some...
He's not as unpredictable.
You know,
is he?
And, you know, he have some flexibility about himself like that, but it's levels to it. You know what I mean? He works out. Yeah, I never understood because he works out. Seems like every day, you know. But certain things. I mean, you know, I don't want to. You know, whatever people do, they do on their own. You know, but in this sport, you definitely need certain things to survive, especially when you fight with different fighters because styles make fights. You know, and we've known that. We've seen that throughout time, and you know, in my opinion, you know, he have a style that could be easily adjusted to. You know, that's why I'm so confident. That's why Fury's so confident. That's why Ortiz is so confident that, you know, we can beat them. You know, but one day it will happen, and we'll see. You know, anybody can say whatever they want to say until the night of the fight, and when that fight time happens.
I know what frustrations you've gone through because I've watched everything Deontay over the last 6 months, and without spending too much time on it, do you feel that they're trying to bide time before they face you? Then?
Of course, they've been doing that. I mean, look at all his team has been saying, even Barry Hearns. They've already said enough. I don't see, if you're a fan of him, then hey, of course you're not gonna want to see it because you want to continue to feel like you're at the top. You know what I mean? Okay, which people can feel whatever they want. If they want to live through something, then hey, who am I to say not? But I think it'll happen when it's time. We all know they don't want this fight, or it would have been happened. It would have been at point blank. It's plain and simple with that. It's just like with me and Fury. This fight didn't happen because our managers got together, our promoters. This fight happened because of me and him having a discussion, talking about it, being serious with each other. And when you have a strong backing as a champion, they're gonna do what you want, not what they want, or not what they feel is best for you. They can say what's best for you, but at the end of the day, you have the final say so. And if you ain't going along with it, it's not gonna happen. That's just point blank and simple. It's simple. It don't get no simpler than that. If Joshua wants to fight me, the fight would have been happening. If you don't want to fight, it's not gonna happen. It don't get no simpler than that. I don't know how much more I can say.
A very quick question, and for a very quick answer. Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte fight on December the 22nd. You may face one or other of them at some point in the future as well. Who wins that for you?
Chisora, baby. I'm going with Chisora. I feel Chisora beat him in the first fight. A lot of people felt that way. A lot of people. And I feel that he going to do it this time as well, too. I don't really look at Dillian Whyte as no killer in the sport. I look at him as a crybaby of the sport, someone that just complains and I don't want to go eat. I'll keep it like that. My grandma always said, "You don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all."
I agree with your grandmother. It's true though. Why?
Yeah, why?
Unless you got a reason.
Exactly,
reason,
exactly. I just keep it like that. I don't look at him as one of the superior fighters of the divisions. Just somebody that yaps. But I definitely have Chisora swollen that mouth up and giving him another loss on his career.
One of the things that surprises so many of us, Deontay, is that you don't get more resonance and in the mainstream in America, and that you aren't treated more as a star. Is that a strange question to ask, or do you ever think about it? Does it bother you?
It don't bother me at all. I always tell people I'm happy in my life. I got things that people don't have, that can't possess. No matter how rich you are, you still go through life. You still go through emotions. But
look at the basketball players. You could have been a basketball player. Look at the American football players.
Yeah.
Do you but clearly you don't get enough recognition for what you've achieved.
But it's all good. It's all good. This is my time now. With me, everybody can have their day. Let them enjoy it. But when it's my time, be as happy for me as I was happy for you. Because what I do, I know they can't do. I'm one of a kind. They one of many. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, that allows me to feel the way I feel. Although it took me a long time to just really get it, because it's America. It's so diverse. Different people, different cultures, different of everything's here. If it was one kind here, then it'll be easy. If everybody was one culture, it's easy. You know what I'm saying? But because it's so it's a mixture of multiples of countries, it's just so diverse. Like I said, it's gonna be like that. And for that reason, I'm fine with it. I tell people all the time, don't look upon me as a celebrity or something like that. I'm just me. I don't care about who knows me, who don't know me. My life. It makes life easier when people don't really know who you are, because they don't hold no expectations of you. So if you do something wrong in life, it's not the worst thing that's ever been done. When you got John that worked for Burger King or McDonald's doing the same damn thing every day, but ain't nobody paying no attention to him because hey, he just John that work at Burger King or McDonald's. And when you get some other person that has a name, it's like he is a god. So if he did it, crucified. It's like the worst thing that ever happened. I never understand these people because they praise people so much. I tell them, don't praise me. Don't look at me as this guy just the worst. Like I'm just me. If you take this title away from me and all my accomplishments that I've done along with it, then I'm just Deontay at the end of the day. I'm just me. You're going to treat me like I am. Don't take my life away. Don't take my livelihood away. I still want to walk around. I still want to go to the movies. I still want to go to the grocery store. I still want to enjoy
Take your kids to the park.
Man.
Well, you mentioned McDonald's and Burger King. Nando's or Popeye's chicken?
Shit. It all depends on how you feeling that particular day. You must be able to switch it up. Now, I like Nando's and I like Popeyes, but if I'm feeling, if I put it like this, if I want to have something crunchy, crunching on something and I want some red beans and rice with it or something like that, I'm going to Popeyes. With some honey biscuits, I'm going to Popeyes. Now, if I want to relax and take my lady out for a good meal, some chicken nice, good place, clean place or whatever, and get some nice chicken with some good sauce on it, I'm going to Nando's. You know what I mean? Popeyes, it seems like a spot there. The chicken is so good and stuff like that. You using everything with your hands. Nando's is something you use with your utensils. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? I like them both though. I really do. They got great chicken.
The Klitschko era. You were in your late teens when he was dominating. Do you remember him?
Klitschko, yeah. I was in my early teens, actually. Yeah, I remember.
2006, he started to dominate, didn't he? And then he was
Yeah. I remember. What about him?
Well, what was your impression of the heavyweight division at the time? Was it slumbering for you then? He fought Calvin Brock here, he fought Sultan Ibragimov, tried to get an American following, it didn't work.
I really wasn't, at that point in time, to be all honest, I really wasn't concerned about it, keeping up with it too much. I just know the European guys, had the title and they wasn't fighting in America. It was always elsewhere. So you really didn't hear of the Klitschko's because of the, they always fighting in Germany and stuff like that. People didn't. I remember the point in time when people did not know who the heavyweight champion of the world were. Period. Just period.
That's what I'm heading towards because have you got an opportunity to reinstate the years of Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, this whole line, George Foreman, Mike Tyson, this whole line of great American heavyweights. African Americans, I hasten to add as well. And I know how powerful you feel as an African American. You and I have spoken about this before. It was an amazing interview you gave me one day on the phone.
Really, I'm not an African American. I'm a black American.
Okay, a black American.
That
That's fine.
Hated from the suppressor.
Well, I mean, we use the word black in England anyway. Well, but what I'm saying is, I take your language. It's linguistic, it's semantics, but you know what I mean. That it's been a very powerful movement for a race of people that needed freedom in America. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and I feel it. I'm a boxing intellectual. I'm a fight intellectual. I'm not a colour. Do you know what I mean? I'm black. Are you saying I'm not black? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of I'm black with you. Do you know what I mean? We're all we're us. We're we. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So all I'm saying is, because you and I spoke about this before, how you want to be a leader as well. And when you look at the heavyweight division and you look at the history there, does that mean something to you as well?
Most definitely. There's so many fighters have traveled through history and have overcame so many adversity throughout the years. Even you mentioned Muhammad Ali. When he was going through his era in time, it was even worse with racism and stuff like that. It was, although it was the golden era, and people loved boxing because it was it wasn't that many sports going on at the time or whatever. But they dealt with so much, And then when you come into now era, we always talk about things going on, whatever. But it's motivating to see those guys, to see how they can overcome adversity and do so many different things, and still people recognize them still to this day, of being one of the greats, or making this sport to where it is now, And
Don't you want that though?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I want to bring the golden age, the golden days, what people consider right here, to what we have to this day.
It's a lineage. It's a representation of the power of yourself as a man, as a human being, of your race. You can say, we can love it as well. We can all love it. We can all enjoy it, and especially when you say beautiful things like, "I'd bear a child," because that's quite amazing. I mean, it's staggering in its beauty, Deontay. Really, from me to you as another human being, it's quite an incredible thing. I'm about to be a granddad next month. Yeah. Nice. I feel too young, but I've got 2 girls and I'm about to be a granddad next month for the first time. But it's a special thing to, like you say, to have the power to know what you can do physically and mentally, and have that mental strength to know that you can lay your life on the line to fight. Because you ultimately you're winning money for your family as well.
Right.
We'll come back to Deontay Wilder in a moment. But in the interim, I caught up with Jay Deas, who's been instrumental in the boxing career and indeed in the life of the WBC heavyweight champion. Here's what Jay had to say. I'm here in the Northport gym, the Sky boxing gym, Double Y, with Jay Deas. It's a fascinating story, Jay, how your gym came together here. Because you were a teacher once, weren't you?
Well, I was actually a television reporter. I was a crime reporter, and did that here in Tuscaloosa and then down in Panama City Beach, Florida. And my brother was starting a boxing gym, and he had all these guys and nowhere to fight. And so he asked me to come up and help him start a gym. And like a complete insane fool, I said yes. And so I came on back, and we started Sky Boxing Gym together.
And look where it's led you. It's quite amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah. When you tell your parents that you're going to throw away the college education and the television background to start a boxing gym in an area that hasn't had a boxing show in over a decade, it doesn't go over very well, I can assure you. But yeah, ultimately it's worked out very well for us.
And this guy, Deontay Wilder, walks in one day. He's a basketball player, but he's seen boxing, and he's clearly a fighter. And he's got that kind of incredible athleticism. Did you have an instinct about him when you first met him? Was there something in his makeup, in his eyes, in the way he spoke to you that you felt, there's someone here that I really want to work with?
Well, I think really, he passed the eye test, which some people do. You could look at him and see, wow, this guy's very athletic. So you're going to pay maybe a little more attention to that because, you're human. But there wasn't a wow moment until in the first day. I showed him a few very basic rudimentary things about footwork, and then I left him. And I turned around and looked back over at him a couple of minutes later, and he was frustrated by his inability to get it just right, and he was doing it even more diligently than when I was standing right next to him, which is very rare. And most people don't. Most people go way off the rails when you're not right there next to him. So I thought to myself, wow, like maybe this kid could be something. You never know at that point. Is he going to show up? Can he take a punch? Does he really want this? Is his heart in it? You don't know all those things, but in terms of the kid wanting to do the right things, that was evident, readily apparent.
And when did you start to feel you could actually really do something with him?
Well, about 2 weeks after that, we actually put him in a sparring match. We had a professional journeyman heavyweight that had a fight coming up, and I thought, well, this kid maybe can give him a round or two. And Deontay knocked him down, which, he was all arms and legs and heart and punch. But
windmill.
He wound up and he hit him, and the guy was on the ground and looked at me and said, with a smile, and said, whatever you do, keep him. And I said, wow, coming from a heavyweight that had 40 professional fights, this is high praise. And so, yes, Deontay was unorthodox. Yes, he was awkward. And for a while we tried to curb that. We really tried to curb that and make him, just a technically proficient, sound boxer. And though he can certainly do that and does do that, we decided after a while he's quite good at the unorthodox stuff, and it works for him, just as it worked for Michael Spinks and Ronaldo Snipes and Livingstone Bramble and all those guys that I love.
Mike Tyson even had his own style.
Even had his own yes, absolutely.
Jack Johnson had his own style.
Absolutely, going way back, yeah.
Joe Calzaghe, Ricky Hatton, Nazim Hamed, all these guys that I've covered, they had their own styles, and the orthodoxy seems to come from Eastern Europe in many ways, but people's own warrior spirit comes out in their style, I think.
It really does, and it's one of those things where I tell people, well, you look at the Klitschko brothers. Vladimir throws everything technically correct. Vitaly probably has never thrown a technically correct punch. He's all over the place. But both of them, one's in the Hall of Fame and the other will be the day he's eligible. So there's more than one way to get things done.
When you look at Deontay as a man, as a person, obviously there's an inescapable synergy between a trainer and a fighter when you go on a journey like you've been on. What has he taught you about you, and what have you learnt about him as a man and as a person?
Well, a few things that I've learned about him is that, if he says it, he means it, and never to curb his dreams. If Deontay says, he's going to own the entire island of Jamaica one day, you don't want to say, well, now, Deontay, you can't just go and, no, you let, because it's what drives him. So you never, but what he's taught me more than anything else, especially when I was a younger coach, was don't ever believe the hype. Don't ever give people more credit than what they're due, because we would go to a national competition, and some guy would be walking around with a shirt that says 4-time national champion, 227 wins, 16 losses, Olympic alternate, and that's just who we're fighting. And in my mind, I'm like, oh wow, we are in for a tough one tonight. In Deontay's mind, it's like, well, he hasn't fought me. I don't care what all he's done. I had 227 guys ain't me. And I've learned that from him. It doesn't matter what a guy brings to the table. So when we fought somebody like Ortiz, I had come around to a great degree, and I was like, so what? Like, he hadn't fought Deontay, so until he's fought Deontay, then all the rest of things he's done doesn't matter.
You almost can't teach self-belief, can you, is what you're talking about, that kind of, and I've been around Deontay enough in a few of his fights to... And actually interviewed him a couple of times to see that he feels there's something very special in himself. And I think as a heavyweight champion of the world, they do have to have that essence in a way, that it's the blue-ribboned division. It's a standing, there's a history to that division. You have to be someone, don't you?
Right.
Yeah,
if you don't have a healthy dose of self-belief bordering on massive ego, you've got to remember, these guys walk up 3 steps in front of millions of people viewing / in attendance, and in a sport where it's not basketball where you lose, you shake hands, you go. I mean, you literally could be on the ground and everybody oohing and eyeing, and to still do it, and to think nobody in the world can beat me. It takes a special person to do that, and that self-belief is something I don't know exactly where it comes from. I know your experiences along the way help, because you reach those milestones. We all knew Deontay could do 12 rounds with no problem, but boy, going into the first Taverne fight, was that the issue on everyone's mind. And once he did it, his confidence went sky high. He knew he could do it, but he had never actually done it. So these experiences that you have add to the self-belief that's inherent and take you to a whole different level.
Well, I think that night against Bermain Stavern, the first fight, was very much him. I think it was his best boxing performance, if you like, wasn't it? His jab was amazing that night, and everyone talked about how fast and how good Stavern's jab was, and he completely took it away, didn't he? And you could see him enjoying himself in there, if I'm right in thinking that night, and if you can enjoy yourself in that way,
Yeah, it really showed people, and the people that think he can't box must have missed that fight, because you're not going to beat Luis Ortiz. You're not going to beat Bermain Stavern if you can't box. I don't care who you are, how good a puncher you are. If you can't manage the distance, find the openings, execute, and perform, with sound boxing skills, you're not beating those kind of guys, and Deontay is beating those kind of guys. So yeah, that was quite a great victory for us. And then there's been different fights where he's shown different things. The Duhaupas fight, nobody thought Deontay could fight inside. It was just keep him at the end of the jab, keep him at the end of the jab, and they come to find out, like a Riddick Bowe, that wow, you get on the inside and you may be in more trouble with Wilder than you are on the outside. Yeah. So it actually, there's new dimensions coming all the time.
When you look at his career, do you feel that the Luis Ortiz fight taught you the most about Deontay from the corner?
Well, I already knew it, but again, it was affirmation, almost like a continuation of what we already knew. There's nothing anyone can do if they get clipped and the lights go out, and that can happen to any man on earth, certainly. But overcoming adversity is a whole different thing. And the things that I was watching from the corner were, is he problem solving? Which he was. He was jamming, what Holyfield calls jamming him, meant, he was pulling Ortiz close to him so Ortiz couldn't get the shots off. He was still throwing enough punches to keep the ref from doing anything hasty. At the end of the round, he came...
We're talking 5, 6, and 7 here.
Seven, yeah. Deontay came straight to our corner at the end of the bell, which is a great indication. He didn't wander to the wrong corner. So all these were indications that even though he was in a tornado, even though it wasn't great for us, even though there was adversity times 10, he was still in the mix. He was still problem solving. And I felt very strongly that Ortiz had kind of wasted a huge amount of his energy and would have approximately 1 minute of firepower left, and if Deontay could get through that 1 minute, the fight would be ours. And fortunately, that's the way it came out. But I never had a question about Deontay's will.
A lot of people, myself included, feel that Tyson Fury's come back very quickly, but in another way, and I think Deontay appreciates this as well, I'm sure you do. We had 3 unbeaten heavyweights: Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and of course Deontay Wilder sitting just behind you. And we need some kind of resolution in the heavyweight division. It's very exciting for the fans. It's a very exciting time for the heavyweight division. We are in a new era of young lions, and we want to see who's the king of the jungle. Was it pleasing for you that Fury did take this fight so quickly, given that you couldn't get that Anthony Joshua fight made?
Oh, it was huge, because you're right. When it comes to the top 4 or 5 heavyweights, only 3 of them are undefeated, and only 2 of them want to fight. So that actually turned out to be quite easy. Once we turned the corner and said, the other's not going to happen, let's look to Fury and see if he wants to fight, he was quickly on board. And I tell people all the time, sure, he's been inactive, but he's actually fought twice since we last fought. So, in terms of 2018, he's actually the more active guy. But I do think nobody, for all the criticism Deontay's taken about level of opposition and whatnot, nobody in the heavyweight division can claim that they fought Ortiz and Fury in the same year. That makes Deontay the king of wanting to fight the best, because nobody's resume can match those 2 guys.
As a coach, as the trainer, what are the issues that someone like Tyson Fury brings with his style?
Well, I've said before, he's a Rubik's Cube. I'm a kid of the 80s, and I never did figure that darn thing out. But it can be figured out.
December the 1st, you want to be the Rubik's Cube winner.
I want to figure out the Rubik's Cube, and I mean that as the greatest compliment to Tyson Fury. He's in and out. He's tall and short. He's lengthy, he's athletic, he's lefty, he's righty, and he can give you all of those looks inside a single round. So the thing that you find yourself doing is being hypnotized, like Klitschko to a certain degree was. And that's what you can't let happen. You can't be in round 9 or 10 still thinking, we just got to land the big shot. We just got to land the big shot. That's not. You've got to make some headway early. You've got to get some work done early, and you cannot find yourself behind the 8 ball late, like that. You have to do some things, positive things early, and it's not easy to do because he's a tremendous fighter. He's who he is for a reason.
Do you have to be patient in this fight, though, because you know that opportunities will come, and we know how powerful and how explosive Deontay is, that you might be 4 rounds behind, or you may not be, right. But there's every reason to suspect that early in the fight, Deontay will be cagey, I'm sure, early on, as these guys feel each other out and they look at range. They're both huge men. Is there an instilling of patience that opportunities will come in this fight?
Well, I think opportunities will definitely come. Deontay has been a patient fighter as he's matured. He's been much more patient. But this is the kind of fight where you have to realize that Fury will not give you opportunities. You have to make your opportunities. You can't wait on him. You can't wait hoping that he makes has a fatal flaw that you can exploit. You have to press that. And make that flaw apparent. Now, that doesn't mean that you necessarily do that in one round. It could be a process that gets you there later in the fight. But that's why I say we have to make some headway early.
Is this an opportunity? From the outside, we see that Deontay probably doesn't get enough resonance in America for what he's achieved, knocking out all 39 opponents. See, the second time he fought Bermain in New York, I was there that night. He destroyed him, frankly. Is this the fight where Deontay has the opportunity to really project himself on the American sports public?
Absolutely. This is a fight for Deontay that will put him not only among heavyweights, not only among boxing, but in the sports world and in the world in general. Our thing is, I tell Deontay, I want a farmer in Iowa to know who you are. I want that guy to say he knows who Mike Tyson is. He knows to a degree who Holyfield is and probably has heard of Floyd Mayweather. But when you mention a lot of any other guys, he doesn't know. I want that guy to know the name Deontay Wilder. We're not there yet, but this fight will help get us there.
How important is it then in 2019? There is, rumors one hears behind the scenes that a win for Deontay in this fight potentially projects him into 2 fights with Anthony Joshua next year. I mean, are you able to believe that at this stage?
No, it's totally not on my radar. Something changed in my mind when a man says he wants $50 million and then you say, okay, and you produce the $50 million and everybody agrees you produce the $50 million, then the fight doesn't happen. We moved on, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm only thinking of Tyson Fury, because to look past or around or through someone as talented and awkward and capable as Tyson Fury, I would be remiss in my duties as a trainer. There is only Tyson Fury in my mind, and on December 2nd, I'll be happy to answer all questions thereafter.
What do you envisage in the fight?
The fight could be disjointed. If you remember Deontay's fight with Kelvin Price, he was undefeated, a Roy Jones fighter, 6'8", 240, athletic as all you can believe, and everybody remembers the knockout. But the first 2 rounds, they almost seemed to be boxing on 2 separate coasts. It almost looked like they weren't even fighting each other, because there was a little bit of a process of getting to the point where they were engaging and it did work. And so there could be a little bit of that. But I think once it catches fire, once it explodes, it will become something quite memorable and quite spectacular. Even Ortiz, that people don't remember this, but there was actually booing in the arena in rounds 3 or 4 maybe. But now, of course, when you see it in its entirety, it's one of the fights of the year. So sometimes these things, when you've got 2 highly skilled, athletic, big guys, it can take a little bit for them to find out what they're really trying to do and how to accomplish it. So I just tell you, don't blink, don't go to the bathroom, don't get a snack.
You can't do that when there's a heavyweight fight on anyway.
No, anything can happen at any time. But I see it being a very interesting fight, and it's going to be a very athletic chess match with very explosive consequences.
Well, I mean, you kind of touched on it there, but I think when the Luis Ortiz fight was, I always compare it to the fight that Anthony Joshua had with Vladimir Klitschko, that we found out in that fight, because you don't find out unless these guys are actually in the trenches, that right. We found out that Deontay Wilder, you mentioned it earlier, has incredible self-belief. He has the ability to weather a storm, has incredible stamina, and he has, he didn't go down, he wasn't down and out, but he has the ability, when he's in the trenches, to recover and come back. And I think in many ways that's the making of a fighter, isn't it? That's the making of that. Until you're there, you don't know, do you? Right. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's the thing. You can believe and you can think and but until they go through it, you never know how somebody's going to react. Now, I would have bet my bottom dollar that Deontay would have reacted exactly like he did, because I know him so well. But yeah, it's an amazing thing. Conditioning and will those are the things that get you through, those moments. And everybody is going to go through those moments. I don't really ever remember a fighter in history that had a lengthy career that had not gone through those moments.
And do you think Deontay Wilder deserves more credits and more appreciation in America? And is this the opportunity to ignite the American public again? To, like you said, the farmer in Iowa, is this the opportunity to put American heavyweight boxing on the map again?
This is absolutely that opportunity to put American heavyweight boxing on the map. Deontay's the guy to do it. And it's just a question of being given the opportunity, because he has been underappreciated, largely due to social media and the times we live in. Mike Tyson was Kid Dynamite when he was 19-0 on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Well, Deontay, during the social media age, was 19-0 with 19 knockouts, and everybody's saying, well, he's not fighting anybody, even though his opponents were better than Tyson's at that stage. So there is a certain 20/20 hindsight people use. To me, if it's a good fight going in, which this certainly is, it's a good fight coming out. In other words, don't denigrate whoever loses the fight. Give credit to whoever wins the fight. If you think it's a good fight going in, then whoever and however it's won, give credit to that man. And that's what I think will happen here. I think people will see that coming off the Ortiz fight, coming into the Fury fight, Deontay's taking on the best, and he's going to score a spectacular victory. And people will say, wow, we've got something special here in America.
Is there any issue with the weight difference between the two men in your eyes?
No, I think that we never even weigh, so we don't know what we're going to weigh until we step on the scales. As long as Deontay is eating well and training hard, what he weighs is what he weighs. His metabolism is so fast that short of strapping him to a gurney and injecting him with bacon grease for a month, I don't know that his weight would naturally change. It's just one of those freaks of nature, and so we're going to see. Deontay's always been outweighed. Probably in 40 fights, he's been outweighed probably 36 times. So it hasn't been an issue so far, and I don't expect it'll be an issue. More with Fury, the issue with him is athleticism. That's the prevailing attribute that he has, way beyond the height and the weight, is the athleticism. That's why we brought in guys a lot of times in camp, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". We were giving up a couple of inches on height, but we were getting athletic guys instead of statues. I could have brought in 6'9", 7-foot guys that were just statues, but that's not Fury. Fury is an athletic guy. So we hedged on the side of athleticism over just height.
We're just a kind of week away from the fight now, and what do you have to do as the man in his head, if you like, in those... That, this is probably the biggest fight he's been in. I think it is the biggest fight, it's fair to say, in terms of, it's got the whole British public interested. Fury's got his own following. We all believe it leads to other things. The name of Anthony Joshua I'll bring up again, even though you won't discuss it right now. But what do you do to manage his mindset over the last 7 days going into a fight? You've got to move to LA. You set up camp there. All those kind of things.
Yeah, it's the good news is that there are logistical things you have to do, and every day there's things that we will be doing, whether it be media, whether it be workout, whether it be. So there will be an agenda. So that helps pass the time, and it also keeps a certain amount of structure. I've often said, I've seen fighters lose a fight, have a great camp, and lose a fight on fight week. You can do that. You can get tugged so many ways, trying to please so many people, that it affects you in the fight. Now, Deontay is not the guy I'm talking about because he's always been the most focused guy. If anything with Deontay, your issue is slowing him down, rather because he's got a motor that's so high that he wanted to fight 4 or 5 weeks ago. And you have to kind of just
Taper
day
him
by
in the
day,
right way,
day by day, it process, and before you know it, we'll be there. And now, thankfully, we're here. But fight week is an interesting week, and it has to be managed. Fortunately, we have a great team around Deontay of guys he's known for a long, long time, and nothing really gets to Deontay until it gets to that force field around him. And that force field determines what gets through to Deontay and what doesn't. And that's been very beneficial for us.
Fury thinks he got in his head a little bit during the 3-day press conference. That and Fury told me a couple of weeks ago that he really did feel they were very close to coming to blows every now and again. Fury's a fun guy as well, and I know he likes Deontay, respects him rather. I think he likes him as well, actually, because he said, I don't need to dislike a guy who I'm fighting, and I do think there's a great respect there. But is there a danger it could bubble over in fight week?
No, I don't really think so. I think both guys know what's on the line, and it may get heated. It's certainly going to be interesting, and there probably will be a level of creativity with the insults that
a little bit of body sparring. Nobody's
sparring, but
tickle me now.
I think there will be a level of creativity with the insults that maybe we haven't seen in a while, because they're both charismatic.
They're brilliant marketeers, both of them. That's what surprises me, Jay, about the fact that Deontay hasn't. Everyone needs that kind of X moment, that tsunami moment where they flip over to the mainstream, and it always amazes me with Deontay. He's such a personality. He's got such a great story. He can really fight, as we know, and he's got something to say. He's got something to say about African Americans. When I interviewed him before, he's very powerful when he talks about that. Mm-hmm. He's an intellectual as well. He's a very bright man. He's very studied, and that's what I keep coming back to it. But it just really surprises me that his name and his persona hasn't caught fire in America. I do think this is that moment.
I think so too, and saturation does not happen fast, but it does happen quick.
Very good line. Yeah.
So all of a sudden you chip away.
Must have worked in TV at some point.
A while back.
Yeah, you chip away.
You chip away, and all of a sudden the dam gives way, and all of a sudden, 3 days ago you could eat in peace, and now you can't. And so it's a very unique thing how it happens, and I just get a very, very small taste of it in my position. But I noticed, like from the Showtime, the All Access thing, I went out to lunch, and 4 or 5 people stopped to say, hey, that fight's coming up. And so it takes, like I said, it's not fast, but it's quick. And when it happens, you better be ready for it, because it can be a little surprising.
And you might have to get new mats and a lick of paint in here then. Nah, never. Nah.
No.
It really is an old spit and sawdust gym, this, isn't it?
It's old school, and that's the way I am. I'm an old school guy, and I'm tried and true, and I believe in what we're doing here. And, the more rust on the equipment, the better. And the signs up here, taken from all
more
different.
plow horse than show horse.
Yeah.
A goal without a plan is a wish.
Yeah.
Respond to adversity, don't react. I love it. There's no substitute for mental toughness. You can't train mental toughness either. Winning takes will and skill, but the will must be greater than the skill.
That's Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, exactly.
So some of these are Vince Lombardi, Muhammad Ali. I came up with some of them. So a little bit of everything. One of mine is you're either coaching or allowing it to happen, is something I heard somebody say that I really liked, which means basically that you see something and you think, I'm not going to say, well, you're just allowing bad things to happen. If you're not coaching, then you're allowing it to happen, and that's an important one. That's a big one.
Boxing is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Now I do thank you very much for having us into the gym so close to the fight. It's an absolute privilege to be here. On December the 2nd in the morning, or very early in the morning, if and when you've beaten the guy who was considered the number 1 in the world, the lineal champion, as he calls himself, the Gypsy King, how far down the road will you have gone to completing the task with Deontay Wilder. He's already, was it his 8th defence, isn't it? Since January 2015, he's held the title.
Crazy.
How far down the road will you be with this guy?
Well, I think, a couple of the goals I would love Deontay to get to the 50 plus, and break those records that Marciano had, and it's going to take some great big names to do it. And
5 more years, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, could be 4 or 5 more years. Yeah, and my main goal for Deontay is that at 40 years of age, I want him to wake up and be able to do what he wants with his time on a daily basis, that he doesn't have to do this, that, or the other. He's taking care of his money. He's well positioned employment-wise. If he wants to commentate, if he wants to act, if he wants to, do this, that, or the other, he can do that. Ultimately, that will make me the happiest. Is his day is done. He's retired at this point, and every day he wakes up, I think I'm going to go to Tennessee because my daughter's playing basketball for her college, or I think I'm going to go to Hawaii with, the wife and kids. I think I'm going to, and on a daily basis, that will make me the happiest guy in the world, because that's what we set out to do in the beginning.
Many thanks, Jay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So finally on the Fighting Spirits podcast, we go back to the WBC heavyweight champion, Deontay Wilder. Because one of the other things I want to bring up, because I always bring it up with you, is that, because I'm a big supporter of the Paralympics, 7 Paralympics I've covered, and I love fighting spirits, and I've seen many fighting spirits at the Paralympics, and I know what a special place in your heart your daughter has,
Almost definitely.
Yeah, that she's special, and I wonder whether she is one of the real driving forces in you, one of the, where there's a power base because of her in you,
Almost definitely, She's the reason I got into boxing. If it wasn't for my daughter, I really don't know what I'd be doing. I got a lot of things that I could say, but who knows? Who really knows? And, I had to remind her one day, because she was feeling sorry about herself and her condition, because she was getting picked with at this moment in time. And, she was
getting picked on,
bullied
or teased,
with her situation, her condition. And I remember her doing a video, and only reason it was brought to my attention because my 7-year-old felt a certain type of way, like Daddy Nail was crying, and so I looked at the video, and she was feeling sorry for herself about her condition and how people would pick with her, and she was saying in the video that next year she'll go to a higher grade. At that point in time, in that particular moment in time, she was gonna go to a higher grade, and she was like, it's gonna get worse when I go to high school, this and that, And I saw it, and I had to come to her. She's 13 now, and I had to say, babe, I said, you are amazing. You are a special person. You're a special young lady. I'm like, don't you know, Daddy would never got into boxing if it wasn't for you. I would never be who I am today, as far as boxing is concerned, if it wasn't for you, or in my life, because they say you don't know what love is until you have a child, and that is so true. Because children can bring unconditional love. A child will love you regardless. Your breath can stink. Your child will say your breath stink, but they will still kiss you in your mouth. You can smell. They will tell you that, but they'll still come near you. They'll still hug you with passion and pride. That's my daddy. You know what I mean? It just teaches you another type of love.
She's like you, no?
Oh, man.
She's another fighting spirit, no?
Another fighting spirit. And we use that. I have a tattoo on me, and we was holding hands, and I call it the road to success. Because I used to go to the doctor's and doctor's office and different things, and I used to see she used to have to be treated, like needles stuck in there, going through surgeries or whatever. And I remember this one particular time where a doctor was sticking her with a needle, and she turned her head and looked at me. It was just crying, and she was reaching out to me, Daddy. As a fighter, my mindset started to go like, I want to help. I can help. I got special skills, and I'm not afraid to use it, like taking. But on the other hand, I like, this is for your own good, baby. I had to tame the beast. This is for her own good, It always made me want to cry because my daughter was in pain. That's me. That's some part of me. It makes me feel a certain type of way because that's a part of me. And but I couldn't help it. But everything that she's been through, I calculated, And I'm like, my daughter has been through so much as a baby, and then to a little girl, into a young adult. Now she's a teenager. She'd have been through so much, and it's motivation, and it hypes me to be able to do what I do in the ring. I'm like, if she can go through the suffering, the trials and tribulation, the heartaches and pain, what I do is easy, because we're feeding off of each other's energy. You know, we connecting as I'm holding hands and we walking through the road of success. It's like I'm supporting you and I'm feeding off of you as you support me and you feed off of me. You know, we were feeding off of each other. And it's an amazing feeling, and, you know, to have someone that you love so much and to be able to do certain things for them and make them happy, you know. Because, you know, their life, at any given time, their life can be up and down. You know, kids with spina bifida, they go through a lot of depressions, you know, in their life and stuff like that. So if I'm doing what I got to do in life, you know, and being able to support her beyond her belief, like I said I would do when she was 1 year old, I said I'd be a champion, then that makes me happy. That makes her happy, you know. I'm one of the most, the most happiest dad in the world right now. You know, I love my children. I love how smart they is, how intelligent they have become, and how their outlook on life. You know, they understand, although they can have the world, but they don't ask for it. You know, they're very appreciative, and, you know, of what they have. They don't boast. They don't brag. You know, they love people. We teach them to love people. Like you said, we are together, and we teach that in my household. You know, it's not no color thing. It's not none of that. You know, it's we, like you said, and it's amazing. It allowed me, me being a father, allows me to be the fighter in the ring, because it work hand in hand. You know, when I'm not a fighter, I'm a father, and when I'm not a father, I'm a fighter. Back and forth, and it's a beautiful thing, because it both takes, you know, responsibilities to obtain. You know, both consider emotions that is involved in it. You know, and we both, you fighting for the love, you're fighting for your children to give them a better life, and then when you're in the ring, you're fighting for bragging rights. You're fighting for the passion of the sport that you love so much. You want to win. So, you know, I bring a lot of passion. I bring a lot of pride in the ring because of my daughter, and in life, it worked hands in hand with me. You know, what makes me be a proud father. And like I say, I'm a proud father. And not only do I do it for Nair when I'm in the ring, but I do it for all my children. So when one single man fights me, he not fighting just me. He fighting me plus my children. Because I'm going home to them at the end of the night. And when I come home, I want to say, Daddy won, baby, if they ain't already there or they ain't seen it on TV themselves. After the fight, y'all go to bed. You know?
So it's not just a belt at stake. It's not just your undefeated record at stake. There's real, genuine daddy and family pride at stake.
Wholeheartedly. That's who I do it for. I do it for my family, you know. I feel that if I didn't have that, then it'll be for self. I don't know how much I would put in the dedication if it was just for self, because I think I would get too content in life, because I'll be like, I have it all. I have this. I have nice things. I have that nice. I have money. So it wouldn't be too much of a desire for me, because it'll just all be about myself. And self is selfish in certain type of ways. But if you have people that you're doing it for, you know, then you don't want to let them down. You don't want to be a disappointment. And I don't want to be a disappointment for my children, because I come from a place where I done had unfulfilled promises. Where people done told you promises that I would do something, and that they didn't fulfill it.
You mean you as a kid? Me
as a kid, of course. You know. So when I look at my children, I tell them I'm going to do something. I say that you're going to have something, you're going to be done. Daddy, it's going to be done. Trust me.
But I've read that you did have a very loving childhood yourself.
I did. I mean, you know, my parents did the best that they could do. You know, they taught me the right from the wrongs. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying that we didn't go through trials and tribulations as a child. We didn't see certain things as a child. We went through a lot of things that a child should never go through. You know, but it makes
Like what,
us stronger.
Deontay?
I mean, you know, I don't want to put all my business out. I'm a type of person, I'm very private with certain things, and I don't want to put all my business. Just know that I went through certain things, and I know sometimes releasing and venting out to people to say what you went through, because someone else is maybe going through the same thing, and they want to understand that. But you know,
It was tough anyway.
Yeah, it was tough. It was just know my situation was tough, and that you can get out of any situation with your mindset. You know, certain things you can't control. But that's okay. Only do the things that you can't control until you can control the things that you can at this point in time. And everything will be all right. It'll be all right because you said it will, and you believe it will. Your belief is everything. Your belief is everything. It's everything, you know. And that's the thing about me. I'm a man that believes. I'm a man of pride. I'm a man of courage.
And a man with a lot of speed and a lot of power and a lot of athleticism.
Come on now, you know, all of the above. But that comes from somewhere.
But Jay Deas says he could kickbox you.
You always need competition. You always need someone to have confidence in themselves. Not only you just have. It's boring to just have confidence in yourself, and the next person that you got to compete against don't have no confidence. Don't want to say what they would do, because they don't necessarily believe that they can do it or not. They don't know. I like to speak what I'm going to do. I like to express myself, because that's just me expressing to the world that I'm confident in what I say. I believe
Oh no, you're a
in what I say.
massive communicator. You're a very eloquent man with your hands and your words, frankly. And I bet a week's time cannot come quickly enough now.
Man, this is the time. Like
It's the biggest fight of your career, really,
biggest
isn't
fight
it?
of my career.
It's the one that projects you, isn't it?
This is the one. This is the one that solidifies my name. You know, especially here in America. America got a great man. America got a bad man in boxing.
A bad man, but a good man as well, I reckon.
Man, but a good man with a great heart.
Absolutely brilliant. Really appreciate your time, as always.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Blessings,
Deontay.
blessings.
Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much.
It's been a pleasure.
Please subscribe to my podcast on SoundCloud, or even go to my website, garethadavis.com, to keep up with all my work.